Hey there, welcome back to week 3 of confirmation. Hard to believe that we're already 3 weeks in. Today I just want to spend a little bit more time talking about what it means to be confirmed, what it means to be a candidate, and what it means to be at the place in the journey that you're in. So let's start by answering this question. What does it mean to be a candidate for confirmation? Well, simply put, it means that God is calling you to be a Catholic and to journey deeper and deeper into the faith that God has gifted you with. Not long ago, I too was confirmed as a Catholic. Believe it or not, I was raised as a Lutheran, which is a type of Protestant. When my dad got sick about a decade ago, I decided I needed to get serious about church again. He started going to a Catholic church, and I decided, why not check it out? Since then, I have just loved being a Catholic because it allows me to encounter God's love in really deep ways, and it's brought me a lot closer to my family. Most of all, it's helped me discover my vocation as a Jesuit and start me on this journey to becoming a priest. In confirmation, God calls each of us by name into a deeper relationship with Him in His church. There's a story that I like in the Bible that's referenced in your workbook this week, and it's the story of Zacchaeus. Zacchaeus was a tax collector, and in his day, tax collectors weren't exactly good people. What we know from the Bible is that he likely defrauded some of his fellow Jews, which means he took money from them. And he worked for the Romans, and at the time, the Romans were quite literally a foreign occupying force, like an army from another part of the world that came and enforced the law in Israel. When Jesus comes to town, Zacchaeus decides he wants to get a good look at this Jesus guy, and so he climbs up into a sycamore tree. And through the crowds, Jesus sees Zacchaeus, and he calls him by name and says, "Zacchaeus, get out of that tree. I'm coming to your house for dinner." And as God called Zacchaeus, so too he's calling you. Right now, Jesus is calling you by name, asking to come over to your house for dinner. As we discussed last week, that's what confirmation is all about. It's about growing closer to God in that beautiful, loving relationship to which God invites each of us. When it comes time to be confirmed, you're going to stand in front of the bishop, who represents the Good Shepherd, or Jesus. The bishop will call you by name. He'll seal you with oil. He'll mark you with the sign of the cross, which is the love of Jesus, and he'll call you into an even deeper relationship. Being a candidate means it's a time to grow in prayer and to grow closer to Jesus through prayer. There are a couple of really cool things that come along with confirmation. First, you get a sponsor. A sponsor is someone who will stand next to you when you're confirmed, and they kind of serve two functions. The first function they serve is as a representative of the church. So they're somebody who represents the church for you and says, this is what it's all about. Second, they're going to represent you for the church. They're going to say, hey, this is a good kid who I feel is really serious and really earnest about being confirmed. You should choose someone as your sponsor who's Catholic, who has been confirmed, who is older than you, and, believe it or not, who's not your parent. You may ask, why can't I choose a parent as a sponsor? Well, the idea is, and the reason the church says this, is because you should be confirmed because you want to, not because your parents want you to. And so the church, in her wisdom, says, hey, maybe you should choose someone else so that it's not just your parents forcing you into this. Second, you get to choose a saint for confirmation. Think of your confirmation saint as a guide in heaven on this journey to confirmation and the rest of your life. When I was going through confirmation, I chose St. Ignatius of Loyola, who has since become a very important person in my life. St. Ignatius of Loyola is the founder of the Jesuits, and he has a really interesting story. St. Ignatius started out his life as a soldier, and his leg was injured by a cannonball in a battle. He was brought back to his family's home to rest and recover from his injury. And as he was recovering, he started reading about saints and he started reading about Jesus. And through these readings, he sensed a deep call in his life to be a saint. As he read about saints like St. Francis of Assisi, the great founder of the Franciscans, or St. Dominic, the great founder of the Dominicans, he decided, hey, maybe God is calling me too to be a saint. So he devoted his life to helping other people find God. He developed this radical program of prayer that we call the spiritual exercises, and then he founded the Society of Jesus. You too get to choose a confirmation saint that will be your spiritual guide on this journey. So as we continue our journey, this week there are 2 questions that I would like you to reflect on. The first is, find a saint. It's easy to find a saint. You can get a saint book. You can also just Google Catholic saints. But I'd like you to find a saint and learn about them. Learn their story, learn who they are, and maybe in our online discussion, you could share the saint that you found with your fellow classmates. So the first assignment that you have this week is to be a Catholic detective and find a saint that you think is really cool. Second, start thinking about a sponsor. And I think a really good way to start thinking about who might be my sponsor is to think, who is somebody that is Catholic that I really admire in life? So as you're thinking about a sponsor, just answer that question. Who is somebody that you know is Catholic and that you really admire? For me, a couple people come to mind. My grandmother, God rest her soul, was Catholic, and when I became Catholic, she was my sponsor because she was a really holy and prayerful woman, and I really admired her faith. Another person, not in my own family, that I really admire who's Catholic is Pope Francis. I think Pope Francis is really committed to helping the church grow in holiness, and he really demonstrates a care for the environment and a care for the poor. So, as we go about this next week, think about, what does it mean to be a saint and who is a Catholic that I admire? I've really enjoyed this journey with you so far, and I look forward at some point post-coronavirus to meeting you in person.